Appreciate it.
Well,
Appreciate it. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can
Yeah, I
y'all hear
got you.
me?
Sorry. Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Okay, let me turn my volume up. Sorry, I was in LA all week at the US Open last week, and I'm
Oh,
still
good.
trying to remember where I live. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
Scott?
nice. Yeah. That's
I
fun.
mean, where do you live, Scott?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, good. You just said Christchurch.
Yeah. That was back in the day.
I know it was back in the day. Hang on a second. I can barely hear you. Maybe I'm hitting the wrong button here. Hang on a second. I won't take long. I promise you. Once I figure out the. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I had my volume way down. Different guys are different on here.
Oh, good.
Well, hey man, if you're ready, I'm ready.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to be coming down in 3, 2, and 1. Wow, it's a pleasure to get to talk with Scott McLaughlin, defending champion of Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. I got that right, don't I, Scott?
Yep. Yeah. That was a good old win we had last year for sure.
Yeah. And as I like to say, survivor of many races at Mount Panorama, right?
Yeah. I mean, Mount Panorama, like Bathurst, yeah, this is a battle of survival. 7 hours of and you're not only, it's not just you driving the car either. So it's there's a bit of nerves all day, but it's a great race.
It's like having a baby and you turn your baby over to somebody else to watch it for a while, right? Before you get to play with the baby again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to do it. It's hard to do it sometimes, but you have that trust.
I'm gonna get to that in a minute because I definitely want to ask you a couple of questions about that. Just everything that's like honed you, for what you are today and stuff. But and I won't take long even in that. But I've always been intrigued by that racing over there, supercars. I think it's totally underrated in terms of oh my God. But speaking of oh my God, I mean Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. What just number one? What's it like coming back to a place where you're a defending champion and then, well, yeah, what's that like for you? Now I'll get into the next question.
Well, it's the first time in my career, I guess. I had St. Pete this year that I was defending champ there, and then obviously been defending champ at Mid Ohio and Portland as well. And yeah, it's awesome. It's a lot of hard work goes into winning a race here in IndyCar, and to be able to go back and know that you did a good enough job last year to beat 26 other world class drivers. It's a pretty awesome thing. So. I'm feeling confident we can go back to back. I love that track. The car's always good there, so there's no reason. But the competition is so stout right now. Alex Palou is really strong. Chip Ganassi Racing, as we all know, McLaren, everyone's stepping up, and us at Penske, we're trying to do the same.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be the 40th IndyCar race at Mid Ohio, which is second only the Indianapolis 500. So this track totally different from Indy, obviously. But has some staying power and some tradition involved with it. I don't know, do you sense that at a place when, can you sense there's been a lot of history at a place when you're there? You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. The different surfaces on the track, the undulations, it's you can tell it's an old school track, it's quite high speed, different corners up and down, not much runoff. So if you do have a moment, you can get yourself in a bit of trouble. But that's what I love those tracks. I love the tracks like, Barber's the same for me. Love the undulations, love the way that the car feels underneath me. It's it's you either like this sort of track or you don't. And this is something that I've always really enjoyed. And I think that I get that sort of from my Australian roots as well.
Yeah, I equate these kind of tracks almost to surfing, bobsled racing, all in combined, because you want to slide them, you got to be confident in your slide, but also you got to be confident to throw it in there, right? I mean, to throw the nose in there and stuff. How would you equate it?
Yeah, look, it's a lot of commitment. So, any sport across the world that you just require the ultimate commitment and confidence in your equipment. That's ultimately what, Mid Ohio is about. You feel like you're doing a slow lap there sometimes, but it actually tends to be a fast lap because you've just got to continue the flow of the race car. And if you have a slide, trying to make that slide fast is a lot of fun. And Mid Ohio sort of throws that challenge up.
I may have even asked you this last year during the race weekend, but I always like to ask guys like you, and please don't say every turn, okay? Is there a turn there that you got to get every one of them right? But is there a turn there where you go through it in a lap and you go, okay, I'm smoking? I mean, where is that?
I love the last complex. I can't remember the turn number.
The carousel?
The left-hander. the double right sort of down the hill and then back onto the front straight. Like,
Yeah.
that is just, for me, that is like one just big complex of, really difficult turns, a lot of different corners as well, bumps, different surface changes. So you know that on your fast lap, if you get that right, you're going to be there or thereabouts in the ball game, because the other parts of the track, they're a little bit more simple, not that much simpler, but enough. And certainly, I feel like that's the most challenging part of the track and the most fun.
It's kind of like putting the cherry on the top of the malted, or of the whatever you put cherries on top of. I just drew a blank there.
The pavlova,
Yeah.
the cake.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you're sitting 199, 199 points right now, right? And in sixth. But oh my goodness, does Alex Palou look way far gone? I mean, how would you explain, as you're sitting there in the points race right now, Scott, going into this thing?
Yeah, it's he's been phenomenal. You can't take anything away from Alex. He's been really good with his team and getting points. But look, everyone goes through bad spots. I think I was like 90 points out of the lead last year. I managed to sort of get that back to sort of 10 or 20.
Yeah.
And it was around this race last year. So, anything can happen. People can have bad races, multiple bad races in a row. All it takes is a little bit of loss of momentum. So for us, you've just got to get to the point where the points are what they are. And Alex is going to be what he does. You got to accept that. For me right now, I've just got to focus on what I'm doing. And, I feel like we've had really good pace this year, just haven't executed, especially like he has. So there's no doubt in my mind that we can move our way forward, be in that top 3 in the championship. If Alex has some bad results, for sure, he's going to come closer to us. But, you can't, disregard how hard that is, what he's doing, and he's been able to make it look easy. And it's a credit to him and his team, and we're going to be working harder to beat him.
Yeah, I asked him about that at Detroit, the run he was on, which continued obviously. But like he said, you got to make it, everybody catches those waves. You got to ride that wave as long as you can. And you've been through those ups and downs, right? And what's it like when you're riding that wave, man? What's that feeling like?
That's amazing. It's like, you feel invincible, like it's just one of those things where you're just at one with your team. Your team feels that confidence as well. So they're doing good pit stops. But I tell you, as fast as you can get into those momentums, you can quickly lose them as well. So Lex is right. You just got to keep riding them and just, for however long they go. But he's smart. Like, he's one thing, he's a smart race car driver, and he knows how to, keep the momentum going, even if it's not winning, and that's something that, he's showed over the years, and, that's why he's a champion already. So we're a fair way behind, but we believe we can still win it. It's just a matter of, dotting our I's, crossing our T's, and hopefully it works out.
Did you say you're a fair way behind? Did I hear you say that?
Yeah, we're a fair way behind. Yeah.
Yeah. That you mean in a golfing term?
Yeah, I mean, we're like, right now we've sort of lost a bit of time. We're working too much on our putts, and sort of, we've got to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I just got back from the U.S. Open, like I told you earlier, and man, wow. I mean, you talk about fairways, but I digress. I know you love golf, don't you?
Oh, I love golf. Yeah, massive golf fan.
Your favorite course you've ever played is?
I'm very lucky. I got to play Augusta, so I'm that was my favorite.
Oh man, how'd you do, by the way? Did you get to play more than once, or just what I'm saying? I've always said if I got to play Augusta, I'd want to play it twice, once to go and then the second time to play. Go ahead now.
Well, that's exactly what happened. I was very lucky. I played 36 holes. I played 18 the first day, and then we played the par 3 course.
Oh yeah,
afternoon. That was cool. And then we played 18 the next day, and I shot 87 both days. Number 10 kicked my butt a little bit, but it was a lot of fun. And the most
underrated thing that people who've never gotten to play Augusta and just watch it on television, the one thing that sticks out to you most about that golf, in my opinion, I'm gonna give you my answer because I got to cover it back in 1984, the Masters, when Ben Crenshaw won it for the first time. The greens are like upside down potato chips or right side up potato chips. What's the most daunting part of that golf course?
Well, I think what surprised me was the elevation. But
Yeah.
the greens and your approach shots are very important. But the greens were, very tricky. But I thought just the elevation from tee to green or second shot up, some of the things that you just don't see on TV, and
Yeah.
it was awesome to walk it and see it.
Yeah, I've always told people that you don't understand the elevation there because it's literally the erosion cutout bank down to Ray's Creek, which they go over it sideways, up and down, and things like that. And you just think it's a big little flat piece of land. It is not.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
what is your second favorite golf course is, and then we'll move on.
Well, that's a tough one. I played Quail not long ago. That was a good Quail hole here in
Yeah.
Charlotte. I really enjoyed that place. Beautiful place.
Wow. Yeah, that is not nice golf course. That's also can be a daunting golf course. Okay, your
Yeah.
favorite of these are the Cutting, Frog Hollow, the S's, or the Dipper?
The Dipper. The Dipper's cool. That's a good part of the track.
I'm talking about Mount Panorama, ladies and gentlemen. And this man, we're going to get to another thing. I'm going to ask him if he remembers or not. But the Dipper.
Yeah.
I've seen in-car shots from him. I've seen in-car shots from a car you drove there. Explain to people what it's like to come up to the Dipper.
Well, you don't want to, as it says, you actually don't want to feel the dipper. If you're going through there fast enough, you don't feel the dip because you just go over on two wheels. But it's such a daunting part of the track. You come down, you get to about 800 feet above sea level, and then you charge down 200 feet and probably in 200 feet, which is crazy. So it's a wild part of the track.
We're talking about Mount Panorama, the course, the legendary race course in Australia, and obviously Bathurst 1000 is held there, right? Am I correct, Scott?
Yes. Yeah.
I knew I was. I just wanted to double check. But what does the numbers 203.851 mean to you?
Wow, that was one of the best laps I've ever done in my life. Yeah, so I guess that was the first 203 lap by a supercar at Mount Panorama, which was a pretty special thing. But they're even faster now. They're those guys and girls that race those, they're wheeling pretty good.
Yeah, but that's like Alan Shepard. Somebody's got to be the first guy into space. First guy for America into space. Somebody's got to be the first one to do it like that fast. But when I said those numbers a while ago, be honest with you, did you get a little bit of goosebumps? Because I would think you have an immediate flashback to one of the lay it out there on the line laps, right?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the most memorable, and I really do, Tim, like remember the whole, every corner and where I broke, and I know that track like the back of my hand, but that lap especially. But yeah, that was an incredible day for me, a life-changing day for me, to be honest. Pole at Bathurst is always a big deal. It's kind of like Indy pole as well, but it was such a special day, and something I'll never forget for sure. Yeah,
I just wanted to ask you, was that a day when even you proved? I would think you have to be cocky, you have to be confident to get into a race car and race anywhere. But was that one of those days where it proved to even yourself, hey, I am among the elite? I mean, I think you can say that without being boastful because clearly you are. But was that one of those moments where you just kind of go, all right, I'm one of those guys.
Yeah, well, we had so much success throughout the year in terms of just getting pole positions and stuff. Our car was really fast, and I felt really at one with it. But really, no one sort of believes in your pace until you can do it at a place like Bathurst. And I guess that was for me where I just felt like I'd made it there. Although the race didn't go too well, we didn't win it for a couple more years. But it was that was one of the special moments where it was like, okay, that gave me a lot of confidence, not only for then, but like for the future, and definitely changed my life.
Yeah, what was that car? What was that brand car? What was that car?
That was a Ford Falcon.
Ford Falcon, not to be confused with your the Ford Falcon you might find. Well, I don't think they sell them in the United States, but man, that was a sweet looking. It's almost like when you guys are racing there, it's almost like you're rally racing a little bit. I mean, because you're really hanging it out, right? I mean,
you're scraping the mirrors across the walls. One thing that people don't understand is how blind that track is. Like 90% of the corners you go through, you have no idea where the exits are. So it takes a good 2-3 years before you're even very confident at that place. So it's definitely, like I said, to get pole there, it's a big deal, and something that I was really proud of.
Yeah, I crossed my fingers and my hands for you right there while you were talking, because it does like you just throw it in there, 2 wheels out in the dirt on part of that ridiculous lap you had way back when. But that, like you said, from then on, you can see where you've gotten to here today, right? I mean, opened eyes. Obviously, you were already opening eyes over there, but compared to this time 2 years ago, Scott, can you put into words how much farther you are along in feeling this IndyCar as one? You understand what? Because we were talking to you about that last year at Mid Ohio after the victory, and you were still, you were talking about how much better you felt than you did the year before, and I would think it's even multiplied now, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely a lot more at home with the car and how IndyCar works. I think it's definitely a different mindset to what I ever had in supercars, and not from a bad perspective. You just have to change. You just have to be flexible, and I definitely feel like I've still got things to learn. There's no doubt about that. But particularly on ovals, but at least road course, street courses, I feel very at one. I know the proximity of the race car. Even just running up against walls or running up against curbs. Like I know that was always a battle, learning the proximity of the car compared to the supercar that I used to race. But it's certainly I'm very comfortable right now, and can only sort of get better, I believe.
Two other quickies, and you just brought it up. This room's want to ask two other quickies. I did a video with Mario Andretti a couple of years ago at Indy, and he was in that era when Indy cars went from basically race cars, and not just Indy cars, but Formula One cars, went from, regular type grip to ground effects. You know what I mean? Downforce big time, etc. You experienced that going from supercars to Indy cars. What is the biggest thing you have to get used to with a ground effects or a more aerodynamically gripped car?
You just the trust you've got to have. The speed creates the downforce. So the faster you attack some corners, that's ultimately what's going to help you. So trusting that, especially when you're braking, is quite a difficult thing. But something that I'm definitely getting on top of now for sure.
Yeah, it's almost counterintuitive of everything you had developed, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you like the weight transfer and stuff in the supercar was very different to the way that I brake in the IndyCar, where initial pressure in IndyCar is really important and strong. Where supercar, you do your braking distance a lot longer, so you use your braking, you brake over a long period of time, but very consistently, and then bleed off. So it's definitely very different, but something I've really enjoyed trying to get my head around.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've always said about Formula One and even Indy cars, as impressive and fast as they go, it's also impressive how fast they slow. You know what I mean? Meaning, from a braking standpoint.
No, absolutely, no doubt.
Hey, last thing, I asked you a while ago about the points situation, all that kind of stuff. When you're in a situation like you are, and it's probably like this every week anyway, no matter where you are in the points, but this is just a weekend when you can just put your head down and go for it, right? I mean, because to get back in this thing, you got to win races, right? I mean, to get back in go ahead.
Yeah, look, absolutely. No, that's for me right now. That's our ultimate, our focus right now is just winning, or just making the most of what we got. I'm in the position now we can take risks. But at the same time, I don't want to go on a DNF train either and lose a heap of points and be out of the top 10. But I know for a fact, we've had the speed all year to win races. We just haven't had luck. I've made the right decisions. It hasn't quite been a smooth year for us. I give us a B- in execution, but probably an A+ in speed, because we've always been there.
Yeah.
But it's that's IndyCars. You got to take it, and we'll do our best to try and go back to back this weekend in Ohio.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like big time golf now, man. You make one little slip up, and there's like 5 guys that go right by you in a heartbeat. I mean, it's literally the same analogy, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You look at Ricky Fowler on the weekend; he was absolutely in charge. And then obviously Wyndham and Rory, and Sunday had one bad day, and you're back in 4th or 5th. So look, and I still think that you can do that from where we are as well. I think we can come back through here, put a bit of pressure on Alex, and hopefully he folds a little bit, and we can make it a little bit closer.
Last bonus question. Will Power's your teammate. Scott Dixon was your hero growing up. Here they are. One's walking toward the other.
Yeah.
He's very upset. Should have been, by the way. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Who do you step in there and help?
Look, I'm a team guy, so I'll back Will, but at the same time, I think Will had the right to be angry.
Yeah.
I think Scott had the right to be, I just didn't see him. So he made his stuff up, he owned it. That's what you always expect with Scott. He's a class act, and Will's a fiery guy, but he definitely deserved to be fiery. And I think IndyCar needs that. IndyCar loves it, and I'm very fond of both guys. They're good guys, and it was an interesting little exchange.
How cool was it though to grow up and have Scott Dixon as your hero, and then to meet him, and he's a class guy. You understand what I'm saying? As opposed to a big time jerk, which a lot of people, I've met several of the guys I thought were heroes growing up, and they didn't turn out to be that kind of guy. You understand what I'm saying, Scott?
Yeah, look, very, very lucky to have him as a hero, as a friend now. But yeah, he's, like you said, he's a class act, and definitely probably doesn't get the recognition he deserves back home in New Zealand. That's for sure.
He's known as the king of Mid-Ohio because all of his wins there, and now you're trying to unseat the king, right? I mean,
we'll see.
Two in a row would be quite the accomplishment, right?
Yep, we'll try. That's the plan.
Look out, King. Scott's coming for you. Hey, Scott McLaughlin, thanks for joining me, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Cut. Hey, I appreciate you, man.
No worries. I better duck to my next one.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Tim.
Bye.